Yeah. 53rd in size and 58th in salary.
$53rd in size and $58th in salary.
Yes. According to ISAC.
Anyone have anything to add on this?
I think. Well, this is first go around that we're doing a comp board like this.
Yes.
And so if you just, Sam, you want to run this, do we just want, Sean, do you want to talk a little bit about your office, what
Go
you've
for
done in the last year?
Yeah, originally when I decided to come help our county as far as the county attorney position went, we were way behind. We had a lot of individuals that wouldn't come to our county because of how poorly I shouldn't say how poorly it was run, how many cases there were that jammed up, how many backlogs there were. The judges were reluctant to come here, and some of them even took vacations for Mills County months that they have because they have a rotation. I promised, you weren't here, but I promised Carol, Lonnie, and Richard that the first thing that I was going to do is get rid of that backlog. And we've had trials, a tremendous amount of trials since I've been in this position. Felony trials, we had a Class A felony trial, month and a half ago, Class B felonies, C's, some misdemeanor trials. We've put into place and saved both the county and the city money. We put a pretrial in place for all of the I call them scheduled crimes, which are seatbelt violations, speeding tickets, etc. Each Friday, they were having trials, and we would have city police officers and county employees that would sit there for hours waiting for their case to be called. We would pay overtime for 3 hours for somebody because you can't just say, go up there for 20 minutes and we'll pay you for 20 minutes. That's not how it works for the sheriff's department and the Glenwood Police Department. We'd have DOT people here and state patrol offices. So all of those offices were up there every Friday. Since we put that pretrial in, we rarely have trials where those individuals need to be present. And one of the things that we did was we put a stop program in place, and that stop program has helped alleviate a lot of not only the cost for our law enforcement personnel, but has brought money into the county for individuals who have, let's say, you're 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. You take a stop class, the county gets money, the county attorney's office, and the individuals save money by not having those law enforcement individuals there. They take a course, either a 4 or an 8-hour course, and they're allowed to have that not go on to their record, which saves the citizen money in insurance costs, which saves in turn us money. We retain some of those funds from those people attending those classes. So we put that in place. Also, we've put in place a system where I think it's been about 5-6 years ago, they allowed us to start doing the collections for the county. So if somebody gets a $500 fine, let's say, they don't have $500. They can make payments through the county attorney's office on those fines, and then we are allowed to retain some of that money. The county's allowed to retain some of that money. Some of it for the fines goes to the state, but for the most part, those fines that are collected, we're allowed to retain some of that. So we've also brought money in for the county through that procedure. And Diana in our office is taking care of those collections. So if you call, there's a dedicated individual in our office that takes care of those. We've implemented a system that allows that to take place. If you plead, it's automatically, you come down, we put you on a payment plan, we recoup some of those funds. In addition to that, I don't know if anyone still has kids in the system. I know some of you do, but the truancy laws have changed tremendously. And truancy was a big problem. And Dawn in my office came from the Pot County Attorney's Office. She did 16 or so years of Pot County Attorney's Office and implemented a truancy system up in Pot County, which she has now implemented here in Mills County, which is going really well. She goes and meets with the superintendents of the schools, goes and meets with principals of the schools, and that has really helped. We've had a couple of individuals that have actually been prosecuted for truancy in this last year. And I think that with the individuals that the sheriff's office has put in place at the schools, along with the county attorney's office handling those, we are ahead of the curve in assisting in the truancy department, in my opinion. I think that we've done an excellent job of trying to keep people out of getting prosecuted for their children not going to school. So very proud of that program as well. So in addition to not only clearing up that docket that we spoke of at the beginning of this, we've implemented some new programs that are actually bringing money into our county instead of costing money. And so I think Diana's salary that she receives is almost covered by the money that we bring in. Which also she is working with John on some of the civil things that we've done. And I think that, overall, we've kind of cleaned up the docket that we spoke of. We've implemented these new plans, and we have a lot of things that we brought before this board that historically have not been done. For instance, no one was going to every board meeting from the county attorney's office. We have somebody showing up at every board meeting. No one was going to the zoning and planning meetings. We have somebody that's going and showing up. If there's something that is requested, we're there. We go to the schools. We're actually in the schools. The sheriff's department and the police department and our department meet once a month at least to go over problems that we have. That was implemented when we first got here. And I think we've tried to keep that up. We had a couple of months where we were unable to all get together for one reason or another, but for the most part, we're able to meet and discuss things that are happening in our county. The other day, I went out with the engineers department to look at a couple of things on Bunkie Avenue and up out here. So we're trying to reach out. We're reaching out with the department heads and going over things that historically have not been done. So we're trying to do some new things and implement some new ideas within our office.
The other day we discussed, there's $29,000-$30,000 in that account from bringing it back in, correct?
Correct.
I just want to make sure my number was right.
I think that was right around what Diana. Yeah. Let me see. Okay, so how many staff do you have in part-time, full-time? Lisa and John are the only two full-time?
That's correct.
Okay. Lisa and John. And then Dawn, Diana,
And Sarah.
and Sarah.
We're just doing elected officials here, correct?
Yep.
Let's see.
So none of those individuals receive any benefits.
Don't think, when we talked to Mike Galloway, he said, we're not setting the salaries today. Right?
It's up to you guys to go into that today.
I prefer not to.
Yeah, that's at the end. We can discuss that then.
Yeah, so is there I think what he suggested is that we asked each elected official ballpark figure.
So my budget, I believe, was $100 more than it was last year. The proposed budget that I gave you, which includes a small salary increase, a cost of living salary increase, for everyone with the exception of Lisa, who had a 5%, 5 point something percent. I don't have the figures in front of me, percent increase. The rest of it is, the increase of cost. So for instance, our PBK, which is our online platform that we utilize to integrate with the online court system, the sheriff's department and the police department, that has an increase every year, and we just kind of have to guesstimate what that's going to be because those numbers don't come out until July 1st of each year. So I just put in a slight increase for that and
We're
a
just
slight
dealing with your-
increase.
We're just dealing with your salary here,
Okay.
so. Good.
I think the salary that was submitted was 2.5%, said,
It's approximately 2%.
somewhere around there.
Yeah,
Appreciate you coming. Talking to us.
thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have any further questions.
One thing
Mr. Crooks?
do you think is there anything coming down from the state that's going to interfere with what we're doing? You know, I mean, they're always changing things up there like crazy.
Well, so I'm on the Board of Governors for the state of Iowa for attorneys. And I went to a meeting on Wednesday and they said that it was there were 1,900 bills that have been proposed.
Yeah,
I think it's more than any other year. I think they could beat a record.
Exponentially more.
Yeah.
It's 3 times as many as generally are proposed. And, you know, whether or not it's somebody that's trying to make a name for themselves or trying to help their buddy out or just, I don't know, some of these bills. So I'm also on a committee for the criminal board that I review the criminal bills to see whether or not we should support or oppose these. And some of the things that they have proposed are just preposterous. And I'm not entirely sure of who is writing this, but we could not possibly implement some of the things that they've suggested. So when you say, what do we have to look forward to? I really honestly have no idea. If some of these are approved, we're in
We'll
some
be
big
in,
trouble.
yeah. No, some of these things that they write up, I think it's a dart game. They just throw darts at words, put them together. And
I would agree.
so,
I would agree.
well, thank you very much for all you've done.
Absolutely. Happy to do it. It's
Thank
my
you.
home.
Thank you, Deshaun.
You bet. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up will be the sheriff.
Please.
No, I don't want to be there any longer than I have to.
Excuse me, Sean.
For you, Brett. It wasn't that a whole bunch of hot air.
That's just the worksheet that
Yeah, I
we had
appreciate that.
together, so that way.
I'd like to know.
That's all that.
I think
I think I said it.
I don't know how many.
Comps, full-time, part-time.
Yeah, I don't know.
We have all the what's in their criteria.
No number. You're never gonna hear a number. Okay, so I'm gonna go off with Sean's template. First, thanks for the time. As I have been all of about 5 months into my new position,
You're doing a great
I'm
job.
learning a lot, and because of the cooperation that we have, I greatly appreciate that. Oh, I thought you were handing this to
No,
me.
sorry.
It's okay.
My mess here.
So the compensation request and town board process, you and me, I think we talked about this, but I think when I was sworn in on November 19th and on November 25th, I turned in a request, my official letter. That official letter was high, my request was high. And I was just basing that off some of the information that's been done since the back to blue law was enacted back. in 2021. That back to blue law, uses and I'll call it a formula that can be interpreted in many ways. And I think that when you guys put together this one, this list of comparable cities, it's hard to argue with what's listed there. You could go through and pull out any city in the state that's comparable, along with what the
Yes.
exactly law of the state patrol, depending on how you go in the rank structure. So that being said, that's probably one of our bigger questions as far as where we're going to be with our budget requests at this point. We've had some discussions that I don't know that we need to discuss them really.
Sure.
Wherever we land is where we land. So, that said, a little bit about the sheriff's office. As you know, we have 24-hour coverage, both on the road and in the jail. I'll start with sworn staff. But right now, sworn staff, we're at the 12 plus me, so total of 13. That is a 24/7, 365. We are working towards, hopefully, expanding our coverage a little bit as far as number of deputies on the road at any given time. The hard part is as we continue to grow senior, the time off accumulates. The nights and weekends is the challenge. Despite the fact that, I'd love to say that everybody wants to go out there and chase criminals all day, all night, and on holidays and weekends. That's not necessarily always the case. They like to have their time off. So that's one of the challenges we face, but we're going to continue to work towards that. We also had since I've been here, one resignation and one new hire. That new hire happened to not be certified, so I'm going through the process, but I'm confident that she's going to be a fantastic deputy. Just going to be a little bit forced to be on the road full time. As far as jail staff, we have an authorized number of 13. We had a couple of part-time to cover that process. The part-time, with the exception of our current situation, as you know, I think last week I brought one resignation to you. That won't be this week because I'm not on the agenda, but we received a resignation late last week. We've got a second one that's resigned.
Jail.
And again, from the jail. And again, that's nice weekends for cost comparison. It's probably not worth it for some people. She's opted to take a job somewhere else, or has got some home issues and needs to go the days, weekends off type of situation. So lost another one. So we may be bringing that part-time back just to help supplement some of our open shifts. But that's a challenge we're prepared for. And when you have somebody resign, there's a wage there to cover that. We'll continue to work towards that. We've opened up our detention officer position, so we're going to hire that as soon as possible. I don't know that I have a whole lot of other things to talk about. I'm confident we have I can safely say, I feel very good about this. When I walk into that office down there, they call it my office, not our office. Because that's a well-oiled machine, and there's a whole lot of people that I think, near as I can tell, they enjoy coming to work. There's no tensions in the office. There's the atmosphere there is very, and that's exciting to see, and that's one of the reasons I was drawn to come here. Just John mentioned, I made the move from Council Bluffs PD down here to Mills County Sheriff's Office because I live here. I want to be part of this community even more than I am already. And I'm excited to be there. And I think I can say that pretty confidently with everybody that's there. Good. I've got I've got a very nice even mix of some senior officers and some junior officers that are fairly young. And they seem to match very well. There's a lot of people that would be concerned about that seniority gap. But
good.
I feel very good about where we're at.
You got a good group of people down there, Greg.
Very good.
Really do.
Yep.
A few comp board questions I have to ask you.
Sure.
How many staff do you oversee
A total of
when you're fully staffed?
when it's fully staffed, we should be at 28.
28.
Yep, and that's 13 sworn, myself included in that number. So 13 jail staff, and then 2 I got my office manager.
Okay, and then I also got to ask you.
But
Oh yeah, Sabrina does.
and
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know, I brought my backup.
Get some brownie points.
Yeah, yeah, well, hey. Yeah.
That's smart. of you.
There's a lot of
I mean,
truth to be
honestly,
told in this.
bring
There
it
is,
so.
back.
there
That's
is.
smart.
I gotta ask you too, ballpark figure.
Well, putting it aside, yeah.
Got it, it's the comp board stuff, Greg.
Well, I don't remember what number I wrote in that, but I know that, I think that number was right around 140.
It's like 142.
Yeah, it was a crazy, well, not gonna say crazy. It depends on who you use for comparables. When I put that number together, I was using different numbers than what are here, and obviously they're probably different numbers than for our previous discussions, we decided are probably more likely what we should be using. Where would I like to be? 130 would be great. 135 would be super fantastic. I think I told Richard the other day, 180 would be better, but that's a joke.
Don't joke around with my money.
Trust me, I don't think I'm getting that money. But again, I say, you guys have to look at what's it, and I've said it 100 times. I'm at a fine balancing point between looking out for what's good for the county as a elected official
And your team.
and my team.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say whatever you guys decide we're gonna decide. And I appreciate that.
Well, you know, I think I speak for all of us when I say that we've had a lot of conversations with you about this. And I, for one, really appreciate all the work that you've put into working with us and working through this and trying to come up with some number that works for everyone.
Yeah.
So I do really appreciate all of that, Rick.
Yeah.
I do. So I don't have any other questions.
You know that.
No,
I do not either. How about you, Mr. Crouch?
Well, we will all gather and make up a decision on this, and we try and not break the bank, but I realize we have to try and keep up with Back to Blue situation also, and
Gotta follow the law.
as long as we keep trying to get there, I don't think there's anything they can do to us, I hope.
I agree. And I know the last time we got together, we had a number that's higher than probably it could be, should be, whatever you want to call it. And that 140 number was thrown out, and you asked me to cut some money out of there. Sabrina and I sat together and we cut 140,000. I'm not gonna call it fluff. Just generally speaking, we would run just a little bit over on our budget throughout the course of the year. And we took that out, and I feel pretty confident that we can make our budget work with that. Now, that was also, we had built into next year's budget an additional deputy, and I'd still like to come forward with additional deputy.
Coming tomorrow, right?
Correct. Now, that said, that may affect how you guys think tomorrow. And again, I think that's the balance that you guys, and I appreciate that.
You know, I've said it, I've talked to you numerous times about it, but it's a fact that we need to keep up, especially with that essential services, you know, your roads, dispatch, your sheriff's office, we need to make sure that we have people who are there, are able to respond, who are well-trained, well-qualified. So my personal opinion, you need another deputy, because you are running a little bit short for a county our size, especially how close we are to the metro and with the interstate running through. So how we can do that to ensure that we balance, it's a balance act, and how we can do that, I have no problem tomorrow, but that's for
Yep, absolutely. So,
Thank you.
absolutely, thank you. I appreciate the time.
thank you, sir.
Treasurer,
Those big sheets you got there, right? What are those?
salary comparisons for elected officials throughout the state.
These ones?
Yeah, the long one. Why don't we get one?
If you request one, Brad will get you whatever you
You can
need.
access it.
Treasurer, you're up.
It's all online anyway.
So I don't have a printer to print that out.
How are you this morning?
Yep, that was.
that's just the numbers that they kind of put together some comparables. Okay. So I just.
It's 5 up and 5 down.
Your current salary is 75,400, I see.
And you oversee 6 positions. You have 5 now,
Yes.
but
With the
regularly
6.
6.
Yes.
Okay, so 6 fully staffed. Okay. You run us through. You'll send out a letter back in December.
Yep, yep, I was kind of looking through, looking through that as well. So yes, so we have 5, full-time staff. Just about all of us know, how to do basic tax payments, minus our new person that was hired at the end of November. There are 3 of us that fully know how to process a motor vehicle. The other 2 know how to do a basic renewal.
You're cross training them.
Yes, yeah. And it's a big thing that we aim to do is to kind of have everybody be able to do everything. We've got 2 people that do driver's license, 2 full-time people with driver's license. They switch off during the week. You know, Shelley will do it 4 times, and Jamie will do it 2 times. Jamie also does drives. We're back to doing her drives. Now that she's trained, we do those on Tuesday mornings. Taking in property tax payments right now, obviously today's last. We anticipate high volume
You'll be
today.
busy today?
Yes.
Influx of people.
Yes, both online, we have been seeing an uptick in big online payments for
That's good.
property taxes, which is
Yeah,
nice.
it does simplify things
It is nice.
for everybody.
Yes, yep. And then also, we have drop offs on the south side, some people, it's pretty minimal. We check that every morning and this works where it needs to go. But other than driver's license, motor vehicle, taking in the taxes, deposits, along those lines.
6 positions. And let's see here. 53rd most populous county in the state. Their salary's at 15,800. I put down here 2.5, which should be about 1,885, and the salary would increase to like 77,285. Is that right around where you would be requesting a 2.5? Or I think across the board, I think we're looking at 2.5, somewhere around there for
That's a number we've used so
employees
far.
we thought about. So is that comfortable with you, so to speak?
I would say yes. These, I've only been in this position
Not
for
that long.
about 2 months and we're all learning together. So, yeah, I would say yes.
I don't have any other questions. But this,
I appreciate that. Well,
I don't have anything else. Richard, any questions?
No,
Talk to you here after the meeting.
thank you.
Thank you for everything you're doing. So,
Appreciate that.
Since we're in the shortfall, why aren't we talking wage freezes until we get out of this?
what?
Why aren't we talking wage freezes until we get out of this shortfall?
Till we get out of the shortfall?
Yeah,
I'd say,
we can't be giving money away that we don't have.
I don't know if we're necessarily giving money away.
This is just a comp board discussion. They're not making any decisions or actions on it.
Yeah, okay, I work for City Hall. And I've taken wage freezes for almost probably 9 years worth of reports. You know, and it's all because of the shortfalls. So I think you guys should start looking into it since you want to be like the big city, do what the big city does,
Through our budget, yes.
you know.
Recorder, you're up.
It
isn't, I hear that fell out down here.
They certainly are two new toolbox, but you haven't.
Jacqueline starts.
Yes, yes. Very excited.
Okay, talk us through your
75,000.
department and talk us through your staff, please.
So maybe I'll start with staff.
Massive.
I know.
It's me full-time, and Angie Redford deputy full-time. So, and then the new person will be part-time starting tomorrow. Up to not more than 29 hours. At $20 an hour. That's our staff. So we do real estate recording. You want to know kind of what our office
Yeah,
does,
yeah.
right?
Brief overview.
Okay, real estate recordings, and, we record veterans, city to workings. The recordings come in either at the counter, through the mail, or e-submitted. We do DNR, we do hunting, fishing, we new boats, which I'm busy right now because it's a boat year, off-road vehicles, and then vital record, we issue birth, death, and marriage certificates that were done in Iowa. And we, people apply to get married there in our office. I think that's it.
Okay,
Maybe, passports, one of these
Well,
days.
and that, I have that at the end, so I was kind of, there's certain things I have to have and couldn't really do it with just two people for
Right.
sure.
Right,
So
right.
when Jackie gets up and going, and I have to be able to lock the vital record both, and I have to study about that. I don't think that would be too difficult or expensive.
thanks.
So it's a matter of starting out with just passports or being able to take pictures. That would be more of an investment to take pictures because you have to buy cameras. That could be up to $3,000 here. So to start with, if we just do passports, without the pictures, we would take $12 for every passport reading, which is a pretty good amount compared to like the DNR. We get $2 for things. So, and it's just a process of getting okay by them. With passports.
What's the staff?
Yeah, so I have a person that's, but can't do vital records.
Yeah.
But they do passports, so that's the third person, and so probably, and that would be by appointment, so probably a part-time person.
Sure.
I had to go over to Montgomery County Public Health and,
Mhm.
they have a fee that they have themselves. It's like $20 or something like that, that they do to process.
Mhm.
And
They do the picture.
if they do the picture,
Mhm.
yeah, it's kind of a handy service to have around, when they have the traveling passports, when they come and do one in the county, it's pretty packed. So it wouldn't be a half bad idea to have appointments only. And I'm sure you'll get some
And that's
people.
how they know.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're more time consuming, I think. than-
Yeah, they are. It's a big form. Yeah. Okay, and 53rd populous county, and then your salary rank is at 55 right now for recorders. And so I have here a potential 2.5 to 77,285. And that'd be the same as the treasurer's. Is that somewhere that, would be okay? Okay. I don't have any other further questions.
I don't either.
It's kind of a new process. It's strange. Don't like
It is
this.
very different.
Like you're running along rather smoothly.
Anything else, Mr. Crouch? Nope. Okay, thank you very much, Lloyd.
Thank you, ma'am.
Auditor, someone wanna go get the auditor?
Do you have any papers on her?
I just got this.
Who prepares the comps for the board?
These are all done for ISAC, the Iowa State Association of Counties lists them, for all 99 counties, all elected officials, so we can find it.
I'll show you app.
Yeah, I was just curious who does that for you?
No, it's all, we do it, but
Our office.
ISAC.
Your office does it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Get
Okay.
everything ready.
ISAC provides it, and like I said, it's a public record.
Yeah,
Anyone
yeah,
that-
no, I know that. I just didn't know who,
Yeah.
you know,
You guys
who
want
does
copies,
it.
I'll give- You guys want copies, I'll give you copies of
No.
it. It's-
You gotta
it's
do-
simple.
Five counties up, 5 counties below population. And then you work through whatever their salaries are, and then you try to be right in the middle. You know,
Sure, no, that makes sense. I just didn't know, who, I assumed you gentlemen, somebody in the offices here prepared that. I was just
Yeah, actually,
just
the auditor's
curious
office,
and,
the auditor's
you know,
office
who did
prepares
it
these
and-
source, but we all look at them on our own at separate times.
Yeah,
to provide it to
nope,
everyone
makes total sense.
in the
Yep.
public. So,
I'm assuming that information has detail as to information about the counties as well as whether the position is part-time or full-time, required hours, potential hours, things of that nature.
Yeah.
So I can go out to that site.
I'll show you the sheet.
All right, Amber, anything you'd like to add?
Been here since November and, have worked through a few challenges here and there. Working on the,
I'll give them all, I'll give you mine, Brad. You'll have mine.
Everybody here, I think, would like to have one.
And somebody can have mine.
Public records, so we can give you whatever you want, guys. Continue.
been in here since November and have worked through a few challenges that have popped up. Made sure the annual reports were submitted by December 1st that were not started prior to my arrival. Have found a couple errors as I've moved forward and working on correcting those. I have made sure that minutes were done within the week timeframe as required by state statute, and they're on the website as soon as they are approved by your board. And continuing to work through the budget. Also am working on a plan to start working on fiscal year 27 budget as soon as we wrap this one up, so we can really get down nitty gritty and find where we can save some money in the next couple of years. So I just feel like I've put a lot of work and time into this position. I've done a lot of my own on-the-job training. I have had an employee in my office that I had to let go due to work performance, and now have a new person that I hired part-time instead of full-time. So I have
Good hire.
3 full-time staff and a part-time staff.
And you've done an excellent job. Let's talk about your increase right now. So we're at 76,440 right now. 53rd most populous county, ranked 58th for your salary. Is there a figure?
Anywhere between 2.5% and 3%.
That under consideration. I don't have any other questions.
I do not either.
One thing I'd like to compliment her on, she's very good about getting the minutes out. I mean, sometimes they're within 5-6 hours of our daily meeting. They're quick.
Done.
She's very good about taking criticism once in a while. I've been being on wrong too, but, I do read them. And I think we all do. But no, it's been very nice to have the minutes. So we know what, going on.
Oh, I also want to add that I'm working with the state auditor's office on our fiscal year. We just wrapped up fiscal year 23 audit, and we're in the middle of fiscal year 24 audit, and then we'll start.
It'd be nice to get those caught up and finished up.
Yeah.
We've
So I've been
we've always
working,
been a couple years behind.
I've been working hand in hand with the state auditor's office, and have been really impressed by their office.
They only come one day
No, they come,
Oh, it's about a week.
they all come different times during the year. They had some stuff they wanted to do on site here a couple weeks ago. They were here for a whole day, but they'll be back to do, they usually do come for a few days at a time, a couple times a year. We send them a lot of reports as well, and they can work remotely on that, so.
And we do have to pay state auditors for them to come, right? It's not a,
Mhm. Yep,
not a free service.
No, no,
from the
no.
state.
they are, yeah, they charge.
We can pay the state to do it or an independent auditor.
Yeah. And it'd be the same amount.
It's actually cheaper to hire someone else other than the state.
Really?
Yes. And more efficient. We get them quicker.
Because they're not as backlogged as,
Absolutely.
yeah, or like, I have an RFP that I'm working on.
Like she said, we're dealing with, she's working with, you're getting an audit that was done 2 or 3 years ago. I would rather finish our fiscal year, have them finish it, and move on. I want to go back 2 or 3 years later.
They just released the one from last fiscal year.
Fiscal 23, yeah.
They're behind, they're just short, they're understaffed and overworked.
A lot of the cities and counties use them because it's easier just to have them do it than
Yes.
to go for your RFPs, get a different company.
I have nothing to add for the auditor. Thank you very much. Looks like we're up, gentlemen.
I have numbers I provided here for the Board of Supervisors. I did not use 5-member boards. I used 3-member boards around the state. That's why the numbers are a little bit different than our other elected officials. We're ranked right now, Mills, 53rd most populous county. We're the 27th highest salary. We have a salary of $44,300 a year. And personally, my opinion, I would like to see us not take any increases. What do you two think?
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with it. You're not included in this, Brad, but thank you. Yeah, that's kind of what we discussed, so I'm good with it. Gretchen, you have anything to add?
No,
Do you guys want to talk through recommendations and vote? You want to do that another time?
I think let's go through them. County attorney.
Lisa Dingy. Sean's doing great work. For part-time salaries, the county attorney, part-time because she can do her private practice, not necessarily meaning she's just doing part-time work.
She does work 80 hours a week, so
Yeah.
that has to be known. It's just a classification. She's still here full-time as is her staff.
Yep. So she's, we're 53rd most populous county, and we rank 2nd in salary for a part-time county attorney. So I would make a motion to keep her salary at $117,000 moving for the next fiscal year.
Anything to add to that, Crouch?
I'll second it so that we can discuss it if you.
Oh, we're gonna have them all together. This is still really discussion.
Okay.
We just have one action item, so.
So I frequent the county attorney's office quite often on different issues and things, and they're always very accommodating, and like she said, there's generally always someone at all the meetings in case we need representation, which is very nice to have. And her workload down there is unreal. And I don't know how it wasn't for the little lady out front in her office, Lisa. That office would probably fall apart.
She's the county attorney, Sabrina.
100%.
No, she runs a very tight ship.
Do you agree with the 0%, or did you want to go 1 or 2 or 3, or? Any other recommendations?
I'll stick with the 0%.
Looks like that one's good, unanimous. Okay, sheriff, 103 current. Ask is 130 to 135.
I would recommend following the back to blue law. We have to give semi-large increases here just because of that law. With that, I would recommend 120.
Personally, I think we should be at 130 with the sheriff. Just right. Mr. Crouch, what's your opinion?
Where does 130 put him? Status quo. It wouldn't change a whole lot, would it?
No, it really wouldn't.
$10,000 wouldn't.
$10,000 would make me awful happy.
But I would just also say that when we're doing this, it's not just his that would get that increase from 120 to 130. You would also have to take into effect chief deputy, lieutenant, and the two
That's on the budget side, Jack. We're only dealing with the elected official's salary.
their salaries are tied to his budget part.
Yes, they are, but that's on his budget. We're only dealing with the elected official's salary during the compensation.
Just really quick. We can't vote on salaries at this meeting. Apparently you have to discuss them. Can I get an idea? I'll put together a resolution and we'll vote on at another meeting.
Okay.
But yeah, just gotta figure out kind of where you want to be so I can do the resolution.
So even though we have it as an action item listed here, it's not. Okay. Good.
Trying to-
B and C here, can we talk to him? Fine.
Yeah.
Are you, with our recommendations and things that's going on here, very good, the sheriff, you think this helps or hinders, reducing down from the 140 down to 130 or even maybe 120? You think this hinders your workforce down there or not?
That's a great question. I don't know that I'm
Qualified to answer?
right. I know, and I'll step back up to you. You guys were kind enough to allow, chief deputy, lieutenant, two sergeants to come in as they were available, to make their own pitch. Do I think it makes a difference? Absolutely. Is it gonna cause my workforce to walk away? Most likely not, no. But then it's up to me to make sure that, I keep that workforce, that workplace environment where it needs to be. And I guess that's why I get paid the big bucks. I'll work toward that. So. I'm not sure I answered your question, Richard. I answered your question.
Maybe another second part might help.
Okay.
Second part, but do you think this keeps us in line with the back to blue as we're moving to increase this?
I think the way the back to blue law was written, you said it earlier, you're working towards it. I think the back to blue law allowed that time. From my discussions with the men and women that I work with, they would obviously like to see that sooner rather than later. But I also think that that's an interpretation of the law. And as you mentioned, working towards it is what the intent of the back to blue law was. I don't know that any county budget can absorb, especially if you use my initial numbers, can absorb that on a year that the tax income is not where we hoped it would be.
Well, I mean, interrupt, but
No, you're fine.
this is another one of them mandatory
unfunded.
unfunded things, if the state would have chipped in some percentage of what we was gonna do, it would have made it a lot better for the taxpayers and the people.
Or
Absolutely.
wrote the law less ambiguous.
Right.
Correct.
It's very ambiguous
Correct.
law. That's,
Yep.
that's my only complaint with it. You know,
And that's not the first time they've done that. And I think that,
It's always a moving target. That's how it's set up.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we'll be sitting down next year
Same thing.
in November, December timeframe, and we're gonna be looking at the same numbers and questioning where is that ambiguous bullseye that we really don't.
Especially since they've pretty well, set us what our increase would probably be. And when you only got a little bit to work off of, this one's gonna be kind of, I won't say it's simple, but boy, next year is gonna be tight.
100%.
And I think I told you, Greg, the reasoning that I had. So I guess, you know, talking with Mike Galloway, our lawyer, when we discussed it with him, his view on it and what he's seen other counties work with is with that law, you use cities that are not only same population, but cities that are roughly the same type of demographic. And same thing with the Iowa State Patrol. So like using positions that would roughly cover the same amount of area, same amount of staff, comparable. Not, you know, listing Iowa State Patrol, you throw the colonel in there, things like that. You know, using things that are somewhat comparable to a county our size, to a staff your size. So that's how I got the number 120.
Yeah, and you're right. We've had that conversation. And the best way to say it, yeah, we'll probably have to agree to this. And that's okay. That's where we're at. The good news is we can sit across the table and not yell and scream and demand. And,
Yeah.
But again, I'm at the mercy of you two gentlemen, and I appreciate that. And I also understand fiscal responsibility of the county. Whatever it is you throw at me, we're gonna take. And then it's up to me to make sure that I explain that to my staff and why it is we are.
Good.
But thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you, appreciate you being here.
Mr. Kraft, do you have any other recommendation or anything you want to throw out yet?
Well, back when we started this process some time ago, I was looking through my notes and things, I had 130,000 written down, but I'm just gonna throw that out for.
130.
It's an awful increase, but if we don't do it now, it's gonna be bigger
We
yet,
can do it later.
you know?
Good. Treasurer, I think we were all on board there at 2.5, weren't we?
Yeah, so that would be. I recommend
77,
285. Same with the report.
Auditor, check. You had 3% in your rough numbers, and then with Amber, she said 2.5, 3%.
So I would recommend Amber's doing an excellent job, her staff's doing an excellent job. I would recommend that 3%, to 78,733. Does anybody else have any?
No, I have no problem with that. In the future, I'd like to keep them closer to the percentage range. Just because that's what the bulk of the counties do. Keeping auditors, recorders, and treasurers with the same.
It's not a great, range between the three, two are the same, one is higher.
Yep. I do feel the
When
auditor.
you take
does deserve
into
more, though.
consideration what the auditor office has to handle,
Different duties.
I mean, she gets overweighed with elections sometimes.
You're really the, I'd say kind of the gatekeeper of the county.
Yeah, everybody, all the budgets come to me from all the cities. All the good stuff. I have to look through each one to make sure they
TIF,
all.
you name it,
Yep.
it all flows through the auditor.
Elections, our stuff. And for board of supervisors, I'd recommend we stay at 44.3.
Okay, anything else?
If we are done, I'll make a motion to adjourn at 9:57.
Second,
We have a motion and a second to adjourn at 9:57. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
aye.
Aye. Brad, those are yours? Oops. Throw them.
Did you want to set,
Somebody
sir?
dusted that table really well.
You want to set?
That was my tears.
You want a set of these?
He's talking to you. Oh, well, I mean, you're gonna